Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Bernie here along with Pete.
Yo!
And today, guys, we're here to talk about probably the biggest drama, biggest storyline in the NBA season coming now. And that's, of course, the LA Lakers and will they make the playoffs or not? And also the bigger story that we want to talk about here on The Charge is what is the Lakers' future plan? Because we know that they've had many plans before, starting with the Paul George, Anthony Davis, and they just haven't come to fruition. So, Peter, let me start by asking you this. What do you think is now the Lakers' plan now that they have not gotten AD and now that they are in a tight race to try and make the playoffs?
I mean, honestly, the plan is first and foremost make the playoffs, right? I don't think it's going to happen at this point. Like, I hope so for the sake of LeBron, even though I don't really think this matters in the grand scheme of LeBron James' career. I do hope they make it. I just think with only like 22 games left, they have to basically win. I think what I read is 16 out of 6 or 6. They have to win 16 of 22. Yeah. Which in the Western Conference, I think they have like the toughest schedule.
It's like remaining. Fourth or like, it's a tough schedule.
It's pretty ridiculous. I really don't think they're going to do it. But I think make the playoffs first. And then 2, they have to figure out, they just have to decide what they're going to be, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think one way or the other, they either have to say, young guys, you're with us, or keep your bags packed, basically. Like, they have to figure something out. And I think one way or the other, these guys are either there for the long run or they're just going to get moved this offseason.
Yeah.
But I think my biggest thing if I was the Lakers is just I want them to keep developing chemistry between LeBron and Lonzo. Like, I want Lonzo to be the guy that they keep out of all those young dudes.
Right.
Even though I don't think they're going to, which I'll talk about in a second. But Lonzo, I think, he's shown me a lot this season, I feel like.
I think that Lonzo has done a very good job with the amount of minutes that he's been given. I know that him and Luke Walton don't really see eye to eye, and I know that LeVar Ball came on Undisputed and other talk show hosts, TV shows, and just talked about how he doesn't like the way Luke Walton's coaching. He'd rather have Brian Shaw, who's on the bench with him. I think one thing that's going to happen before we talk more about Lonzo, my prediction, I think Luke Walton's gone. I think that's one obvious. But,
that's obvious.
But I just think that they had the hurdle that Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka will have is that Jeannie Buss likes Luke Walton as a coach and just likes him as a person. So I think that one is going to be the biggest hurdle, because you can say all that you want as the GM. Yeah. It all comes down to the owner and what he or she wants.
Yes, for sure. I mean, look at the Anthony Davis situation. I mean, that was probably mostly in part to the fact that the owner is not very familiar with basketball, and she's like, Anthony Davis is the best player on the team by far, we're not trading him, right? That's pretty much how that went, and it's her decision. She pays the bills. Yeah.
But going back to the Lonzo Ball situation, we know that he's probably going to be out another week just to reevaluate his ankle injury. And like I said, he's been doing a pretty decent job. Like, obviously, 10 points per game, 6.4 assists is not something ideal, but we talked about him, at least I did, as being a Jason Kidd-like player for his career. And I just think that if he's a Hall of Famer, then I think that I'm not saying that he will be a Hall of Famer, but I think that he can have a similar career, because I don't know if having a similar career as Jason Kidd in today's NBA is going to amount to a...
Yeah, it definitely depends on who they get to go around him and LeBron.
Yeah, but I just think that Lonzo, as a player, is going to do a very fine job. It just depends on what the Lakers really want to do. And it also depends on how he fixes that jump shot, because I've talked about it numerous times, how he's had a new jump shot, and we see it in some games, and we see it in practice. But he doesn't practice what he preaches, or that's that whole saying.
Yeah, for sure.
And it just looks very ugly. And I just think that he'll do just fine.
I think the thing for Lonzo, too, that has impressed me the most is, like, as a team that's so terrible on defense, like, they're easily one of the... Yeah. They're probably the worst team defensively, right?
I mean, towards the... now they are, but, like, at the beginning of the season, when Lonzo Ball was healthy and all them, they were high up there.
Well, that's the thing, is, like, on a team that's so bad defensively, he's, like, the single bright spot. Like, he's actually a lockdown defender. He's really, really good. And when he's not in the lineup, I mean, just anybody is getting to the basket, anybody's scoring on them. But he's the one guy that can actually play defense, and he plays it pretty consistently for the team too. I think the big thing for them, though, going forward, is obviously they're still all in on the Anthony Davis sweepstakes. Like, I think that's they're banking everything on the fact that the Pelicans are not going to get a better offer. And they probably won't, because with Kyrie possibly leaving the Celtics, the Celtics aren't going to offer the farm for Anthony Davis. It's just, it doesn't go. They wanted Anthony Davis to win championships with Kyrie, and if Kyrie isn't there, the Celtics are out, which means that the Lakers are probably back in pole position to get Anthony Davis. So I wouldn't worry too much if I was the Lakers front office as far as AD is concerned. But I do think it's very interesting to know or consider what their backup plan is. Yeah. Because if they don't get Anthony Davis, that means that they need to either swing really big in free agency, or they need to make a big trade, regardless if it's for Anthony Davis or not. So my question is, let's talk about free agency first, and then we'll go over to the other potential trades. But from a free agency perspective, who do you think they can get, and who would be like the dream player that they could get?
So I'll start with the dream player that I think that they want. Realistically, I think it's either going to be Kawhi Leonard that they realistically want, or Anthony Davis or Klay Thompson. Those are the three guys, in my opinion, that's who they are dreaming to get, and they're hoping that the Lakers brand is strong enough to warrant that one of them comes. But I just think that right now the Lakers are not in a great position to kind of demand or even try and attract these guys. I mean, they had a chance to... who was it? I think it was LaMarcus Aldridge at the time when they did a slideshow, and I think they must have put someone else's name in there.
I think that's exactly who it was.
And he just said no, he didn't want to go there.
He's like, you guys can't even put a PowerPoint together.
And I just think that the Lakers brand over the recent years has been tarnished a little bit, and I just think that if they would have went the building through the youth in the farm system route, then I think they would have had a better job at attracting more free agents. I understand that they probably attracted the biggest free agent last year in LeBron James.
Easily,
coming in. But I just think that after the whole ordeal with LeBron James not really being that positive with his teammates, and also the trade rumors and how Magic Johnson should have done a better job at really addressing this stuff the beginning.
For sure.
I think that's going to be hard to land one of these guys at all. I mean, the one that I could say, like realistically, the one before I go into like who they realistically could get is probably Klay Thompson.
Out of the dream players. I would say maybe, maybe. Not arguing with you. I just don't think he's going to leave the Warriors. No. I think he almost feels like I would almost take him off the free agency, like all the discussions, like because all these other guys, there is actually potential for them to go, but like Klay, he just seems like the kind of guy he'll take less money to stay there. Like, why would he want to leave? You know, I think like the important part for me is separating like the tiers of free agents, and I think there's three like clear top guys. Like it's Kyrie, Kawhi, and KD. You know, and I think you can cross KD off that list. I don't think he would even consider going there at this point.
I mean, from a legacy, like I'll play devil's advocate here. From a legacy standpoint, if you're able to save LeBron James and the LA Lakers franchise and get a championship,
but I think like, you know, and this is me being a homer again, I think like the Knicks legacy pitch is better, you know, because then it's on his shoulders. Because regardless, if he goes to the Lakers next year, the discussion of legacy, I think LeBron's still going to get the credit. And he doesn't want to, I don't think KD at this point would want to do that. So to me, from my perspective, I'm crossing him off the list. I don't think he'd even take a meeting. Okay. I do think Kyrie would take a meeting. And I do think Kawhi would take a meeting. But I don't think Kawhi would go there either. So I think their most realistic of the three is actually Kyrie, which I think is crazy 6 months ago. Like, you have to be a lunatic to talk about that 6 months ago. But I don't, like, why go for Kyrie, though? You know?
Well, I just think, like, when I look at Kyrie and when I think about the whole situation that happened with him and LeBron, I just think that Kyrie is at a point where he kind of used that when he called LeBron James. He used it as, like, a teaching moment for the young Celtics.
For sure.
But I don't think that he wants to play with LeBron James again in terms of being on a team with him. I think more realistically what will happen is that Kyrie will probably go to the Knicks because that's where he's from, that area. Absolutely. But, I mean, like you said, like, why would Kyrie even, like, think or fantasize about playing in LA when he's already kind of been sick of LeBron James, especially like how he's treated his teammates now?
But maybe it's all like, maybe, and you know, this is kind of devil's advocate because I do think the Lakers are one of the least likely destinations for him in free agency. But I do think there's a world in which he says, like, you know, I really do regret giving up a couple years of playing with LeBron James. And not only that, but if they can sign Kyrie and end up with AD as well, then you have your big three, and then you're kind of in that magical window of winning another championship instantly, right? So I think there's a world, But I don't think they're going to get any of those top 3 guys. That's why I'm putting this in like the dream category. So like I'll start my realistic outcome.
Okay, what is
and
it?
I'm being really serious when I say this. They're going to swing for a free agent this year. And I think the 3 guys that it's going to be is 1, DeMarcus Cousins. They're going to offer him a mega contract if they can't get one of those top guys. You know they will.
They will, but the thing that upsets me, I should say,
they could have had him last year.
They could have had him last year. If they really wanted Boogie Cousins, they could have just said, and they had enough cap space for it. Just get it in.
Well, they thought they were going to get Paul George. That's the difference, you know?
Yeah, but you got enough for 2 max guys.
I agree.
Anyway.
Secondly, I think Kemba Walker is on the table.
Kemba Walker, okay.
And then third, I'm going to say Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler.
I think those are the 3 guys that are realistic, and I think they all have the pedigree in which the Lakers would give them a max contract. Out of those 3, though, like to me, the one I would want the most, as far as like if I'm the Lakers and I'm building with what we have, I'd say it's Kemba.
Kemba, okay.
Because I think like Jimmy Butler has this terrible track record now of not being a team player, and already he creates so much drama. And if you're the Lakers with this much drama, you know, why would you want to throw a literal stick of dynamite into it? DeMarcus Cousins, the same kind of thing. And on top of that, he has injury history. Kemba is the only guy that is consistently healthy. He doesn't have a crazy amount of minutes like on his legs because he never makes the playoffs. And on top of that, he just fits with LeBron pretty perfectly, I would think.
Okay.
What's your realistic? Let me hear what you think.
Well, I think when he played on a team with LeBron James, the one thing that he needs is shooters around him. I think
for sure.
That's the reason why they traded for Reggie Bullock. That's the reason why they traded for Mike Muscala, which I still think is a dumb trade. But nevertheless, I think he wants shooters. So I think my realistic expectations of free agents, because to me, I think the Lakers brand has been kind of tarnished a little bit.
For sure it has.
It's not to a point where it once was with like, you know, guys like Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, those type of players, Magic, Kobe, Kareem, James Worthy. Those players really elevated the Laker name, and especially with Dr. Buss, rest in peace, being the catalyst for it. I just think his kids really don't know how to run the Lakers organization.
I don't think so.
And so it's kind of like I put it in the same situation with the Knicks, where they need a new owner to come in and really save the franchise. But nevertheless, you need 3 shooters. My guys would be, he has a player option, so this is going to be interesting, but I think Chris Middleton is one that I could see.
He would be a really, really, really good fit with LeBron.
Because he's no ego, very low ego, and he just is a great shooter. I mean, we saw it in the All-Star game. We see it now with the Bucks. He
doesn't need the ball.
Doesn't need the ball in his hands very often. That's my number 1 guy. Number 2, he's an unrestricted free agent, and that would be Tobias Harris. I understand that, but it depends on where Jimmy Butler goes, obviously, because if they decide to sign Jimmy Butler, then I think they're going to have to, they might have to get rid of Tobias.
I think he's going to stay with the 76ers.
I think that if he wants to go back to LA, because I think he enjoyed his time in LA.
Maybe. I would just say if I had to gamble on like Tobias Harris, I think like the 76ers would rather bring him back, especially after performances like last night in that OKC Philly game. I think they would rather have him in the less drama that he brings than they would, obviously, Jimmy Butler. But I do agree with you. Like, I think that's actually not a bad signing. It just depends on how much you get Tobias Harris for.
Because I think, like, realistically, he's earning 14 right now. I think he might ask for 6 more and might get 20, and that's not too bad in today's NBA.
I don't know, man. He feels like a guy that's going to get way too much money. And I say this as somebody who really likes Tobias Harris. I think the Lakers are going to offer him, like, if they do go into the Tobias Harris race, like, somebody's going to give him the max.
And then I think the next guy would have to be Kemba Walker.
Yeah. I think Kemba.
But, like, I love Kemba, and, you know, those UConn days and what he did in the Garden. Great player, but just not at the tier and the level that I think a LeBron James needs.
Or wants, for that matter. That's the biggest thing. Is like, there is a roadmap in which they don't get any free agents this year. They don't end up with AD, and they have to run it back with this team, minus all the crazy, like the weird veterans they have.
My thing is, when I look at it, I think this is what's going to realistically happen. When we look at would be...
honestly, would you be shocked if Julius Randle went back to the Lakers?
I was going to say Julius Randle back to the Lakers, because I think
I wouldn't be surprised.
He's been playing excellent. I've watched him in some training videos that on Instagram, some of the basketball trainers that he's trained with. he's improved his game a lot from where he's at right now.
Offensively, he's actually pretty dominant. Like, he really is insane in the paint. Especially
now that AD is gone, and now that it's him and Jahlil Okafor as like the two bigs now, with AD playing less than 20 minutes a game because the owners are petty. That, to me, those two guys are gonna, and maybe even DeAndre Jordan on like a cheap contract. Those are cheap,
maybe.
I mean, I think he's gonna earn maybe like 15 million next year. Because he's already 30-something years old. But those, to me, are the guys that the Lakers I feel, in my opinion, are gonna be the guys that they attract this off season, and it's gonna be disappointing for Lakers fans because everyone thought that. There was already scrutiny coming into the season for the LA Lakers because a lot of Lakers fans are Kobe fans, and they just see LeBron James as, he's not Kobe, he's not going to win us a championship.
And not only that, but people put ridiculously high expectations on this team. Like, even including us. I'm not even going to defend it.
Yeah.
Like, where I can't make excuses. Like, I thought they were going to be like the 3 or 2 seed. Like, or maybe even 4.
I had them at the 2nd, but then I lowered it to the 2 or the 4. And then now it's like...
But even in retrospect, like, and I say this in hindsight as 2020, the team is not very good. Minus LeBron and some of the younger guys who have potential. Like, all the guys, the meme team stuff, those guys are not good. Like, that's the craziest part about this team, is they spent all their money on those 1-year deals for a bunch of guys that are not very good at basketball.
The one that was worse to me, and I keep being angry about it, is Contavious Caldwell-Pope. That was the worst one. Because he really, literally, his whole gimmick or his thing was 3-pointers and defense.
And he's that clutch deal.
And he's not doing any of that. And I just think that because of that, it kind of reminds me of that Tristan Thompson deal.
For sure.
Where it's like, he does not deserve that money. Well, I mean, not deserve, I shouldn't say that. It's like, when you look at it, you probably should have allocated that money to someone else.
Very much. I mean, what did they give him? A 1-year 18?
Yeah.
Boogie, 1-year 18. Even if Boogie wasn't coming back until now for the Lakers, he's more effective and definitely a much more worthwhile piece than KCP has been all year combined. The other guys like JaVale was pretty solid at the beginning of the season. He's been terrible for the last couple months. But all those guys, like even Rondo has been all right. Muscala, that trade was terrible. Lance Stevenson is Lance Stevenson. He's always a goof.
I mean, Josh Hart is playing less and less minutes each and every game.
I don't understand it.
The last game, he only played, I believe, 6 minutes. I mean, it's coming to a point when we look at the last game. Like I said, I just think that there's something weird going on in the team that we don't know about, and it really is starting to affect the guys. And I talked about this. I'm not sure if I did it on video or not, but I'll talk about it here now. They really should have. I think Magic and Rob Pelinka should have came out and said, we're always trying to look to improve our team, but we like the guys that we have here, and we're going to stick with these guys for the playoffs. And give them a reassurance that you guys are here for the future, you guys are going to be here now. And I just think if you do that instead of being quiet, then I think the team will respect you more, and they will actually 100%. Play for you.
I think the biggest losers of this whole season are easily Pelinka and Magic.
Yeah.
Like, Walton is going to be the biggest loser because he's going to get fired. But I think Pelinka and Magic, like, other than signing LeBron, which I think is more, like, that's more related to the fact that LeBron wanted to live in LA than anything. They have really not had any success, minus some drafting success. Like,
I mean, Kyle Kuzma was the one that comes to mind.
But even then, like, Lonzo is solid too, right? But I think, like, they have not done a lot right as far as being one of the biggest franchises in all of sports. They've not attracted anybody to come there. But now let's go to this next question quickly and talk about it for a minute. If the AD situation does not go the way they want it to, right? My personal opinion is that they should trade Brandon Ingram and some of the other pieces to get another superstar back. Because I think, like, Brandon Ingram, to me personally, I think his value right now is as high as it's ever going to be. I cannot see him becoming more valuable because I don't necessarily believe he's going to be any better than he is right now. And on top of that, he's played really, really well for the last couple weeks. So I wanted to throw out a couple names for you.
Okay.
All right. Of people they could potentially just enter into, just discussions about. Throw in that kind of a semi-related deal to the one they put out for AD. So the first one that comes to my mind, because this guy is perfect next to LeBron, is Beal.
Okay.
What if they threw in, like, Ingram? They could end up with a lottery pick if they keep losing games.
Right.
So what if they throw Ingram, their lottery pick, and then I mean, they'd probably have to put Kuzma in there too.
Yeah.
What if they said, we'll give you those 3 guys, we're going to keep Lonzo, here's Beal? Would you do that?
That one's tough. I mean,
I think Beal, as far as who could fit alongside LeBron, I don't think there's very many people that are better than Beal.
There's not a lot of people, and I think that one I could see happening, just because LeBron James needs shooters, and I think even like when we look at it realistically, AD is not the between Beal and AD.
Yeah,
Beal's the better shooter between the two.
Definitely.
So I think LeBron James would rather play with him, and also LeBron James has a history of just not being able to play well with bigs. Because he wants the space inside, so he kind of tells him, "Get the heck out of there, and let me go to work in the paint." I could see that, or maybe, what if you decide? I mean, I wouldn't say poor man's, but another version would be maybe CJ McCollum.
Possibly, yeah. I think they could get him for a lot less than it would take to get Beal too. Like, I think that would be simply like maybe Ingram swap, or maybe Ingram and the pick, and then you get CJ McCollum. Let me throw out a couple more names to you. This one I don't think is possible anymore, just because I think he's increased his value so much in the last month.
Karl-Anthony Towns?
Yeah, Karl-Anthony Towns. Like, do you think that Minnesota would even consider Cat for the offer they sent to the Pelicans?
No, because I think Cat is like I'm not going to say he's KG, but the new KG of this Timberwolves era.
I think like if they had put that offer in like a month and a half, 2 months ago, they would have done it.
If they would have put it at the beginning of the season when the whole turmoil happened with Jimmy Butler and Karl-Anthony Towns, and that whole ordeal happened, because like Karl-Anthony Towns was not playing well at all.
No.
And then I think maybe you would have had a better shot at getting a guy like Cat on your team. But now that he's been balling out, now that he's trying to prove Jimmy Butler wrong, and the fact that you have Andrew Wiggins, who we know we both don't really like that guy as much because of his game and the way he goes about his life.
Terrible contract.
I just think that Karl-Anthony Towns is kind of in that untouchable.
I think he's untouchable right now. But I'm saying hypothetically, if they were to reach out and say, here's the offer we sent to the Pelicans for AD, we would like Cat. That's all you have to give us back. Don't worry about anything else. We'll even take your worst contract. I think I would do that too, because I actually think Cat fits better with LeBron than AD does, just because he's a better shooter.
I mean, yeah, I could see it.
You know?
I think, Bradley Beal.
Beal is the best, I think, right?
Yeah.
Beal would be the best, like, alternate trade besides AD. There's really not a lot of other people I can think of, like, who would you even want to go out and get? Like, this is kind of silly, but you could get this guy for probably pennies on the dollar. But, like, Blake Griffin? John Wall?
John Wall's coming back from a really bad injury.
But I'm saying, like, you could literally get John Wall. I mean, minus his awful contract. You could get him for nothing in return. And he's a star.
Yeah, I can see it. The one thing that I'm kind of weary about this whole thing is, like you said, when you look at and you go down the list, after you go like Bradley Beal, CJ McCollum, AD, it really becomes really thin.
It is, for sure. But they're going to pay one of these guys, or they're going to trade for one of these guys, right? Mm-hmm. And I think, like, if you're looking at alternate lineups, like, the dream is, like we were saying, it's AD, LeBron, and then a bunch of shooters.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they want to have. However, that might not be the case. So I think, like, if you look at a team of LeBron, they put a bunch of prospects in to get Beal back, and then let's say they sign Cousins. Like, that's a pretty solid big three.
Yeah.
Do I think that's going to win the championship next year? I don't think so. But I'm saying that is a better outcome than not getting anybody.
What do you think about a guy like Drew Holiday, trying to trade for him?
It would depend on how much they would have to give up, that's for sure.
Because if the Pelicans are saying, you know what, like, even if they decide we're going to trade AD to not the Lakers but a different team because we're not going to deal with this, and they just decide to blow the whole thing up because they want to have a new team.
Okay.
Maybe Drew Holiday's on the market.
He's pretty, I would like Drew. I like Drew a lot, but I don't know. I feel like they would ask a lot for him. And I think you have to maximize your prospects, right? And I think if you're going to trade Ingram and Kuzma, or Ingram or Kuzma and your first, I think you need to get a superstar back. And Drew Holiday at this point is not a superstar.
No.
Beal is, though. Beal could be, at the very least.
I think Beal's a star. I think he will always be kind of in that star level.
For sure.
Not superstar. Just because I think his game and the way that he goes about it, I think that he's kind of maxed out at where he's at right now, and I don't think that he's going to get any better. He's not going to get any worse until, you know, his prime.
Maybe, yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see what the Lakers do from here because, like you said, this is the most drama-filled season that we've ever seen before from LA.
Yeah.
LeBron James doesn't help with the comments that he makes, doesn't help with the movies and all this other stuff. Not that I fault him for any of it because that's what he came to LA to do. Like, that is the reason why he signed to go to LA.
And you know that, like, if the front office of the Lakers did not expect that or know that, they just didn't do their job.
Yeah, and like you said, if this is the case that happened, then I think Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka need to be fired, and Jeannie Buss needs to be out as the owner. I think you need to find a way to get a better owner there, because I think Jeannie Buss also is not doing a good job as an owner.
For sure. Is this worse than the Kobe, Dwight, Steve Nash, and Powell year? That was. Do you remember that year?
I remember that, but
terrible.
They made the playoffs though. When we think about it,
yeah, but that was such a bad season. It was a really bad look for the Lakers.
But they made the playoffs.
They did make the playoffs, but I guess like it kind of depends on, you know, oranges and apples, right? They're very different years.
Yeah.
Like one is one megastar with a bunch of young dudes, and the other is a bunch of megastars together. I don't know. If you're a Lakers fan, tell me which year has been more painful for you, because I would be really curious to know. Like that year, the expectations were at all-time high levels. Yeah. This year they were pretty high, but you had LeBron. So which year hurts more?
But anyway, guys, this is going to be the end of the video. And Peter, what was the question that he had for the Charge audience?
If you guys could have anybody in the league to go with LeBron besides AD right now, who would it be? I'm curious because, you know, we talked a lot about dream players. We talked a lot about realistic players, free agents, trade, destination, target kind of guys. Who would it be? You know, I think for me, it's either AD or Beal. Like, I think those guys are great fits with LeBron, and it instantly puts them back in the playoffs. But I'm curious to know what you guys think, Lakers fan or not. Tell us who you guys would be looking for if you are the Lakers.
But anyway, guys, this is going to be the end of the video. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Also, hit that notification bell to make sure you don't miss our NBA content. And anyway, guys, we'll catch you on the next video. Peace.